Chapter 2. First Steps. The dawn of a new day was spilling over the mountain ridges like a canvas of pale light, painting the rocks in shades of gold and silver to the world. It was a morning like any other to Edelia. It was her first morning. The first time she had felt the chill of morning, not like a breeze caressing petals, but like a living touch on bare skin. The first time her feet had rested on the ground, trembling slightly, fragile and curious. Edelia stood on the top of the rock that had once been her cradle.Where. Once her roots had sunk deep into the stone, now her heart throbbed. Her blue gaze, deep as the winter sky, stretched out over the green forests, the shadowed valleys, the rivers that sparkled in the distance. Everything was new. Every tree, every stone, every cloud seemed to call to her with an unspoken promise. And yet, amidst this grand landscape, she felt small. "So, this is what it's like to be alive," she whispered to herself. Her voice sounded weak, strange, like a language she knew instinctively, but had never spoken. It was heard for the first time. She liked the sound. It was warm, fragile, real. She took a step. Her knees trembled. Her bare feet encountered sharp, cold stones, but it didn't hurt. The pain was a part of her new existence, and she welcomed it with amazement, not fear. She staggered, fell to her knees, but laughed. It was her first fall. She rose slowly, her hands supporting herself on the rock, and took another step. Then another. Walking was an act of will. Each step was a choice, a gesture in which she said to herself, "I exist." The climb was hard, but the descent was an adventure, as high as the mountain that had held her captive had been, so wide was the unknown who was waiting for her below. She looked at the horizon and felt for the first time the taste of fear. It was a deep, unknown thrill, but also a calling. On her way, Edelia discovered the wind, not the one that rustled through the petals, but the wind that penetrated through the hair, that whipped her cheeks and ripped the tears from her eyes. She was cold, but she was also happy. Everything was a revelation. A white butterfly flew past her. Without thinking, she reached out her hand. The butterfly stopped on her finger, as if it recognized her. Edelia smiled, and her heart filled with such pure joy that she felt it could melt. "You are free too. But you have wings," she whispered. She had legs. But maybe, in a way, walking was a form of flight. Descending among the rocks, she approached the edge of a forest. The sun barely penetrated through the dense branches. The air was humid, smelling of moss, earth and life. A bird was singing somewhere in the foliage, and Edelia stopped, spellbound. That sound, the song, was more beautiful than any silence she had known in her life as a flower. She bent down and touched the trunk of a tree. The bark was rough, cold but alive. She felt the connection with the forest, that ancient, deep knowledge, left in her from her life as a flower. She knew instinctively which plants were good, which hid poison, which trees had warm wood and which kept the shadows of the cold. But now everything was seen through the eyes of a man. And it was overwhelming. A deer jumped out of a bush. For a moment, their eyes met. Edelia felt a vibration, a silent recognition. Nature still saw her as one of its own, even though her body had been changed. The deer looked at her with gentle eyes, then jumped into the depths of the forest. "I am not yet one of the people, and yet, I am not even a flower anymore," she said in a low voice. The night began to fall. The sky turned purple, then dark blue, and finally black. The stars rose one by one, like thoughts. Edelia had no clothes, no fire, no shelter. But she did not complain. She gathered leaves, made a bed for herself next to a thick fir trunk, and curled up, shivering. That night she learned what true cold is. Human loneliness, the darkness that does not bring peace, but unrest. But that same night she learned something even more important, the courage to stay. She woke up at dawn, enveloped in fog. Drops of dew had settled on her body. She was cold in her bones, but in her soul, a new will, like a spark that did not want to go out. Edelia got up and stepped forward. This time, without hesitation, and on the way, she discovered that hunger is not just a word. Her insides were growling, and each step became harder. She found some berries. She recognized blackcurrants and rose hips. She ate them with gusto, even though the taste was sour. She learned to feed herself. She learned to drink water from a clear spring. She learned to wash herself, to be surprised, to laugh when a squirrel climbed onto her shoulder thinking it was a branch. Every day, she learned a new language of life. After a few days, she reached the edge of the forest, and in the distance, roofs could be seen, the first houses. Smoke rose to the sky. Dogs barked. Children laughed. Edelia stopped, and her heart beat faster. She had waited for her a lifetime. She had dreamed of them. But now, fear returned. How would they react? Would they accept her? Will they understand her? But she knew what she had to do. She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and stepped into the world. Her world. The one she had been born for a second time.